I'm Loki Matt. I head up marketing for a little Swiss brand named Ricola. I head up marketing for Canada, UK, and South America. And today, I'm actually just going to talk about our journey over the last 8 years in this particular market. Before I start, I'm just going to give you share a little video that just shares our story, our heritage.
For over 90 years, Ricola has been providing great-tasting, soothing relief straight from the Swiss Alps. That's almost a century of herbal cough drops and yodels. And we owe our Swiss heritage to one of our founders, Emil Richter. It was in his bakery in Laufen where the iconic original square drop was developed. Mixing a blend of natural herbs, he revolutionized the cough drop. Every year, no less than 200 tons of natural Swiss herbs go into our drops. They're harvested locally by more than 100 Swiss mountain farmers. These same farming families are still part of our family today, having supplied Ricola with its herbs for generations. Today, you can find Ricola in over 50 countries. And while the little business that started in a bakery isn't so little anymore, it's still family-owned. After almost 100 years, Emil's original herb drop recipe is still virtually unchanged and still a family secret.
One of the questions I get asked quite a bit is, what does Ricola actually mean? It's actually a made-up word. So you saw the founder, his last name was Richterich. So what he did is actually took the RI from his name, CO from company, and the LA from Laufen is where he had the production plant. Ricola. You're a lot smarter now. It's a really unique company. It's out of Switzerland. All production is still in Switzerland. It's a family company. So the grandson of Amelia Richterich is actually the chairman of the board. Family members are still on the board. They're still on the commercial team, very quite active. He's actually here in Toronto tonight. We're meeting with him tomorrow. Over 100 co-op farmers, primarily in Switzerland. They've been around for partners. Some of them have been partners with the brand for almost 90 years as well. Every Ricola drop has 10 herbs. And lastly, we're distributed from Switzerland in over 50 countries. And the start of our journey in 2016, the brand has been in Canada for years and years, but in 2016, the company in Switzerland made a conscious decision to take back sales and marketing. So we kept distribution with our broker, but we took all sales and marketing. At the time, the category itself was about 136 million. We were the number 3 player. Halls, owned by Mondelez, number 1, Fisherman's Friend, and then Ricola at the very bottom. Media buys, you know what? We were all the same. Everybody was spending probably the same amount of money at the exact same time between October and February. It was really interesting because when you're a distributor and you have a brand, you basically don't create your own assets. You create whatever the mothership gives you. And what was funny is I learned this when I first joined in 2016. I was employee number 4 in 2016 when we took over the business. And all these assets, I didn't even understand. They were the displayers, and on television was the power of Kuttekraft. And I was like, nobody knew what that meant. It was a made-up word that Switzerland, they made it up, and it's supposed to loosely translates to the power of herbs. And it was one of those things you just look at it and you just didn't understand. So when we took over the business, we just did the basics. It was as simple as that. First, understanding the consumer. Who is your aspirational target? We name her Alyssa. She's slightly skewed female, 33. She's has a higher index in ethnic indices, and some of her media habits. It's just diving into who this person was. Secondly, hey, look at your assortment. This is, we inherited this assortment. And it was really interesting. One of the things that our customers always told us, as well as our consumers, is, hey, I love your brand. But when I'm really sick, I go elsewhere. The efficacious portfolio of the category, anything that says, extra strong or liquid center, it's about a third of the category sales, so 1 in 3. And then you look at our portfolio, we had 0. It's just those basic fundamentals on understanding consumer need states, understanding how consumers buy. To be honest with you, what I learned is people in this category buy flavors. There's a cherry berry group, and they don't get out of that cherry berry group. There's a citrus group, and there's lemon and orange, and they don't leave. And then there's the mint, peppermint, menthol group. And I can tell you, when I looked at our portfolio, it was we had a whole bunch of things over here and nothing here. And it was one of those things that, because we don't have our own production facility here, you can take whatever Switzerland has. And it's a little different in Canada because this is a natural health product, which is regulated by Health Canada. So you have to bring it in and register it, and it takes a year to get to market. Even things like size. We had these little bags, and in the US, we know that they started trading consumers up to bigger bags. Well, that's great. And it was half their portfolio. We started learning that, hey, consumers want these bigger bags, and we kept hearing that, hey, come October, winter is coming, I stock up. Hey, that's great learning, but it's also double your ring. Even things like Costco, it was the funniest story. Costco is our number one customer, one SKU. We started with a 50 count, went to a 90 count, went to a 100 count. Last 2 years, we were 125 count. Now they've told us to go to 200 count. And units have been flat. They know their consumer. They understand. They're the ones that told us, I'm 200 cough drops? Who eats 200 cough drops? The last thing what we did is actually, and this is probably the most important, we actually realized to grow this business, we really had to change our strategy to be less episodic. Historically, you would focus on sickness, have a cough drop. But what we soon learned is between 30 and 50% of consumers actually eat cough drops for non-sick reasons. So dry mouth, allergies. I had 4 of them before I started talking right now. So that was that aha moment. That's how we thought we could grow our business, because everybody else was playing in October to February. We showed up like this, like everybody else. There's mountains, there's winter scenes, there's frost. This is how we showed up every winter season. Ricola. And you expect it, and you're competing with all the other competitors, the Halls and the Fisherman's Friend. So we shifted. We did not take money from here. We started testing what it would be like if we started spending between March and September. Believe it or not, sales of cough drops are actually 40% between those months versus the winter season per se, between October and March. So it's not as seasonal as you would think. So we started testing. And our creative started evolving. So we're showing up to the consumer. It's still Ricola, but it's different. It's not sick. So we're talking about voice and cheering Nick Taylor when we won the RBC. It's talk about, hey, don't be that person coughing at the Barbie movie. It's about having a Ricola when your voice goes hoarse after cheering for your favorite hockey team. Just showing up different. And things that we were doing with our content was we weren't creating ads, we were creating content. We were becoming less functional and a lot more emotional, being real and relatable, understanding trends. We would tap into conversations. So there's one that we did on the Super Bowl last year. We had a gay pride post saying, never lose your voice. Those are a lot more emotional than where we started the business. So in 2021, what we did, we actually doubled down and did this little test on a completely new, different creative. It wasn't Coup de Craft, it wasn't Frost. It was actually taking the point of the view from the back of your mouth. So what you're going to see is like the uvula in the back, and how it is peering out. And it's in this little video. It's a little video that you'll see. This is what we did, and a little history on it.
Since the 1930s, Ricola has helped soothe coughs and sore throats during flu season. They've also historically competed against other lozenges during those peak months, often being outspent as much as 3-1. Fast forward to 2021. Ricola still needed to increase sales, but cough and cold season only lasts so long, and Ricola's media budget only went so far. Since the brand was already synonymous with sore throat relief, we set out to reposition the cough drop for any time you needed relief. Not just for cough and cold, but for when your voice was tired, hoarse, or dry. We needed to convince our audience to think of Ricola beyond the congested flu season. We launched the Everyday Voice campaign in the Greater Toronto area. Encouraging people to scream, cheer, and talk their throats out in all new usage occasions. We made it known it's good to have Ricola at the ready, no matter what time of year. The 4-week campaign earned more than 34 million impressions across out-of-home, print, TV, and social, including TikTok, a first for Ricola and the category. And after seeing the campaign, when asked if people would consider Ricola for voice relief, we saw a 3.5-point lift in message association, plus a 3-point lift in awareness. In the end, over 1/3 of consumers agreed that Ricola could be used to soothe their voice. And as a result, sales saw a dramatic spike in the GTA, outpacing the rest of Ontario by 500%. The Everyday Voice message was a first for Ricola, and through contextualized moments, targeted media, and bold creative, Ricola was able to introduce a new usage occasion and successfully reposition the brand well beyond the flu season. And that's nothing to sneeze at.
Ricola.
So, what does that mean? This is actually my last slide. Yeah, it resonated with consumers. We did a lot of testing on that concept. Consumers loved it. We won some industry awards. Now, this is actually a number from 2024. We have 6 times more unowned online mentions than our competitor. One of the things I can't relay enough is actually we really try to understand our consumer, their habits. I think when we first started, it was more on, hey, what can your plant make? It was operational focused. Now we're very much consumer focused. We see that in North America. It's actually the biggest driver. It's 1/3 of the volume for Ricola globally and probably 60% of the profit. But it's really consumer focused. When you go to Europe, they're struggling because they're probably just changing flavors. We are really trying to understand need states and how to grow this business. I shared this little piece of information earlier. So 8 years ago when we started this journey, the category was 136 million. We were about $17 million in retail sales. We were the number 3 player. Fast forward to now, so we have a 22 share. We've gained 9 points. So that's almost a share point a year. Our penetration has almost doubled. 8 years ago, our gap to Halls was 35 points. Now it's about 16. We still have a lot of runway to go. Our plan is by 2030, we'll be the number 1 player in the category. And that's really goes back to, hey, what do consumers want? What innovation, not just a new flavor, but what is it? Is it immunity-like? Is it gummies? Is it a new format? What is it that's what consumers are really asking for? Because look at the category. 2016, it was 136 million. During COVID, that went to 80 million because people were masked and they just weren't socializing. And now it's close to 200 million. That's like 50%, 50 million more than pre-COVID. It raises everybody up. And lastly, like I said, the new format. It's just sometimes it's as innovative as new formats. We have a really good share in the aisle with the bags. That's all our business. We suck at pocket size. Those little sticks that Halls has and some of the boxes, we don't do very well. This is a shameless plug. We just launched these little boxes. They're doing really, really well. So these are click tops, mini drops, doing really, really well. So you guys are going to be, they're already out in the market. You'll be seeing them probably everywhere very soon. That's it. That's all I had. Any questions, comments?
Amazing. That was fantastic. I'm just going to hear Ricola on my head all night. Thank you so much for that. Any questions from the audience? I love everything about that campaign over here.
Was there much resistance from headquarters as you're trying to think about repositioning essentially where
No,
the brand?
this is a global strategy, actually.
Okay.
The CEO's here tomorrow. So that uvula campaign was, you know what I love about this company? So we're North American. We report to the U.S. My boss is actually SVP in the U.S. But probably many of you often work in the Canadian division, and the U.S. division is completely separate. We're actually integrated. So all the campaigns, television, we do it together. So it's an adapt, but it makes sense. It's like the 80-20 rule. This uvula campaign was the one that was actually done in Toronto. They've adapted it, which is a little different for a multinational. It's actually now in Germany and other countries have adapted the same creative. So it's one of those little proud moments as a small Canadian entity or arm, but no resistance at all. Good.
Amazing. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. All right, big applause. That was a great session. Thank you so much. Thank you.